Have you ever left a conversation not feeling defeated by reason, but by exhaustion? You spoke with logic. You stayed calm. You did everything right. And yet, the moment it ended, something in you collapsed. That collapse wasn't about truth. It wasn't about clarity. It was about power. You gave it away the moment you started speaking. In a world addicted to reaction, silence is the final form of dominance. Nietzsche understood this, not as a theory, as a posture. He wasn't interested in appearing right. He wanted to remain untouchable. Let's dismantle the mechanics of how silence, not noise, wins wars. Words are not weapons. They're exposures. Modern culture glorifies speech, podcasts, panels, posts. Everyone talks. Few listen. Even fewer understand. You were taught that explaining yourself is the road to resolution. You were told communication fixes conflict. But you weren't warned that most communication is performance, not pursuit. Nietzsche's genius was in seeing this game for what it is. Not a debate of ideas, but a disguised war for dominance. When someone confronts you, they are not asking to understand. They are posturing. They are declaring, even as they pretend to inquire. And every time you respond, especially with emotion, you yield territory. You signal that your inner world is open for influence, that your mind is a battleground available for public conquest. Words are energy leaks. Words are data. Words are submission when offered reactively. Silence, by contrast, is sealed strength. It withholds your frame. It forces others to face their own. The architecture of reaction traps conversations that drain you almost always follow a pattern. They start with provocation, then come misinterpretations, then the bait, a chance to defend yourself, clarify, redeem. That bait is the real trap. Nietzsche saw this as the morality of the herd, the desire to fit, to be seen, to be accepted. It's the compulsion to correct misunderstandings in order to protect your image. But that compulsion makes you predictable. It means your emotions are programmable by external inputs. The Übermensch doesn't play that game. He doesn't answer to misreadings. He doesn't panic when unseen. He doesn't offer proof of his depth. Why? Because he knows the demand to explain yourself is often a disguised demand to shrink. The moment you explain, you concede control of the narrative. The narrative becomes theirs. You can't win a battle on a field someone else built. Silence as a psychological mirror. Silence isn't a lack of response. It is a form of pressure. It triggers in others what noise covers up: uncertainty. People read into silence because it confronts them with themselves. They're used to controlling the tempo of interaction. When you don't play along, they spiral. Psychologically, silence becomes a mirror. It reflects their inner chaos. It amplifies the parts of them they haven't resolved. When someone attacks you and you remain still, their projection intensifies, because silence removes your emotional position from the equation. Now they're alone, with themselves. In social hierarchies, silence is read as dominance. It signals that you are beyond the need for approval, persuasion, or control. This disturbs the fragile ego more than insults ever could. Nietzsche's silent blueprint for control. Nietzsche's model wasn't passive, it was surgical. He didn't advocate for withdrawal, he advocated for discipline. Speak only when your words shape outcomes. Speak only when silence would cost you more. This is not silence as avoidance. This is silence as filtration, a boundary. Most people speak to process emotion. The Übermensch lets emotion pass through unspoken. He observes it, holds it, lets it dissolve. He speaks only when the word is a strike, not a reflex, not a comfort mechanism, not a social lubricant. This is how power is preserved, not in force, in restraint. The more selective your speech, the heavier your presence. And presence, not performance, is where power lives. Part 5. Strategic silence in action. A practical breakdown. Here's how to apply it. 1. Spot the hook. Watch for emotional bait. Statements designed to provoke, confuse, or force clarification. Do not take the bait. Observe it. Second measure. Intent, not words. Ignore the phrasing. Feel the energy. Most attacks are emotional. Addressing words is a decoy move. 3. Anchor your body, still posture. Deep breathing, eye contact, no flinching. This is more confrontational than any argument. 4. Withhold the clarification. Let them misread you. Strength is revealed in your willingness to let perception remain distorted. 5. Let silence expand. The longer you hold it, the more unstable they become. Their nervous system begins to search for feedback and finds none. 6. Exit. Cleanly. Silence is not the end, it's the exit. You disengage not in defeat, but in detachment. You're not running away, you're walking above. 7. Study the collapse. Watch what people reveal when you refuse to respond. Their unraveling is your education. Every reaction is a window into motive. The detachment threshold. Real power is still. It doesn't justify. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg to be seen. Once you detach from the need to be understood, you enter sovereignty. You no longer react to the crowd. You move on your own axis. Nietzsche's Übermensch isn't untouchable because he's loud. He's untouchable because he's indifferent to the need to speak. In a world of noise, silence is disruption. It pulls people inward against their will. It creates space they can't control. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them spiral. You observe. You record. You wait. And when the moment comes, if it ever does, you speak with precision, with power, with permanence. Until then, stay unreadable, stay sovereign, say nothing. Subscribe to Semantic Soul for more videos on Stoic strategy, deep thinking, and psychological mastery. Like this if you've ever realized silence said more than your words ever could. Hit the bell so you never miss your moment of calm control.